Hello, everyone, and welcome to the studio. Hello, this is Terri Klein. How are you, Terri?
Wonderful, thank you.
Terri is a wonderful author, a coach, and so much more. So, Terri, we've got two of your books here, and I know you're working on your third book. So let's start about, I think I'd like to know first, what are you writing about now?
For me, it's really goes moment-to-moment inspiration.
Okay.
Honestly, it's been about my youngest son's pain journey.
Okay.
It's been a couple years now, and it's been very trying, very challenging on all levels. So I write about whatever is going on in my world that is touching my heart and that needs to be expressed. And often it's like a prayer for me or a conversation with God, where I'm seeking clarity in a particular area, or where I want to share a message. Okay. Or I want to have a conversation with someone and in some way teach about an experience that I'm going through and how I'm coping or how I'm enjoying.
And you know that sometimes, something that you're learning and sometimes that you're going through, somebody else is going through the same thing.
Definitely.
We just don't know. How do you feel about your books helping others? Because I know you've also started coaching.
For me, it's just presenting someone with a new perspective. So you can go to Indigo and you can find self-help books on everything. But what my poems and my books are birth through to death, looking at every chapter of life and reframing it. So whether you're talking about pure joy or the deepest of pain, it's perhaps a new slant, a new perspective, and it becomes a shared experience that way. And that is really the essence of coaching.
Before we get into coaching, what do you think is the hardest thing for you? Is it grieving, or is it happiness? Because sometimes even to enjoy something is very hard, and to grieve is very hard. But some people don't know how to enjoy joy.
I definitely learned how to enjoy joy, and that's what I was teaching my mother as she was going through her last few years of life. And she often felt that the moment we would enjoy joy, that perhaps we would bring in something. You can't talk about it, you can't celebrate it, because she was nervous that she would attract something negative just by talking about all the positive. And I'm so the opposite.
Yeah.
I celebrate every moment. I find the extraordinary in the ordinary. I look for awe and wonder, and I seek out opportunity and ways to be grateful at every moment.
And I think that's something we should teach the world.
Oh, most definitely. And I have had my share of trying chapters, and they have lasted. And honestly, that's why it's carving out the joy. It's carving out the moments and recognizing how important they are.
They really are.
And
so I know I'm a believer. We're just trying to find out what you think. I'm a believer that before I go into what I believe, it's the reason I believe it today is because of life. I wasn't born like this. Life taught me that today I look at life differently. Today I look at, I always look at it, how they say at the cup. I don't look at half empty, I look at it half full. I get up in the morning, I'm saying like, wow, what a wonderful world today. Because, I got up, I feel well. The rest will work itself out. But I learned through tough time.
well, honestly, when you speak about the grieving,
Yeah.
it is the tragedy that brings the greatest lessons. And as difficult as that is to hear and even to experience, when we are in those chapters,
Yeah.
we learn those deepest lessons. And everyone's always talking about, the silver lining and finding the gift and the blessing in the pain and suffering. And people don't like to hear it. But the truth is, in all honesty, you can't avoid the pain. When it's there, you can't go around it, you can't circumvent it, you have to move through it. And somehow you navigate your way through, you find the inner strength and the resources, and when you're on the other side of it, you realize that you would never have become the person that you are today without it. And you know, people get sort of a little bothered by that when they're in the middle of a crisis or of a struggle. But the fact is fact. It's not impossible. It's somehow I'm possible. In the same word, we can look at the same thing.
It's hard, as I'm sure there's many people that are watching that, you know, you go through tragedy and it's hard and you can't, you know, I remember going through when my father passed away, which for me was the biggest tragedy.
I think we spoke about that 5 years ago, right?
It's always, and it was the biggest thing, till today. And I remember going to it and I said, I'm not going to survive. I kept saying, that's it. I'm not going to, how am I going to survive without him, you know? And I mean, I did. But you know, it's I got to tell you, just yesterday before the show, you know, I went through, you know, a little crisis. And you know, I've got friends, I've got a husband, I've got kids, but I was looking for my father. You know, I'm driving in my car, and you know, he just wasn't there. Like, I'm looking for him, and it's like, you know, it's been like almost 11 years.
Well,
and I'm looking for him, and he's just not there.
But keep looking for him.
I am like, I mean, you know, I talk to him, I mean, you know, he's crazy, but I mean, I just sat there and talked to him, you know. And I was looking for him because there's, you know, he just wasn't there.
But it's been 5 years for my mother, just the earth side a month ago. And the truth of the matter is that there's that constant energy that you can seek out. Certainly you can't hug him, but you know, her presence for me is my, I call her my captain. In coaching, we try and teach people how to build an inner captain and crew and an outer captain.
Well, my father was always my anchor.
And you know, so there you are. There's your structure.
Oh yeah. And but it was funny because my kids always talk about him, always. And I remember the other day my son wanted something, and I said, no, I'm not going to give it to you. He said, well, if Saba was here, he would give it to me. It's like they're always, you know, pull that card.
How beautiful, but what a beautiful legacy.
They always pull that card. But anyway, tell me what you're coaching. Tell me how this came about, and tell us about it.
Well, you know, when I was going through, probably in the middle of this very trying journey, I'd met with a couple of my dearest girlfriends, and I was just expressing my feeling of confusion as to where I'm supposed to be right now and how I'm supposed to move forward. And being all consumed in the pain I was still looking for tools. I honestly feel like we are forever incomplete, always needing to grow, evolve, and learn. And this program was mentioned to me, and the moment I looked up CTI online, which was, you know, the Coaches Training Institute, there was a resonance as I was reading what it was about and what they do and what they offer for people. And I knew that that's what I wanted to give, and that's what I needed to receive. So we are, you know, we become first a teacher for ourselves, then we take the messages out to the world. So I did that into 104 hours it was, and it was pure magic. I didn't know a soul in the program, and I opened up, and I learned, and I grew, and I took my self-help journey to the next level. And why did I embrace it so much? Because we all need self-help skills, and we all need to self-soothe and self-coach. Sure, we can go to a coach, and that's how we get it at the beginning, but it's to take the tools home with you, create your own toolkit, and be able to navigate your own way. So but that's the essence of coaching.
People have to want to do it.
Oh, most definitely. And, you know, people go to therapists for a specific reason. They need to solve something and need to get a particular treatment plan. But people go to coaching because they want a better quality of life, because they want to maximize their potential, because they want to realize their fullness, because they don't want to just live that sort of mediocre way of life where
you go to
they're
work,
compromising,
you come back, you
and they're living on autopilot, and they realize that, you know what, they need more fulfillment, more satisfaction, greater impact.
So give me an idea of a session like that, like you also you do lectures, right?
I do. I have created a lecture series of 8 lectures that are my most important topics, that I've combined all of my different little nuggets of wisdom into 8 lecture series, 8 lectures. I've created only half of them up until now, but they are basically, you know, the pain and suffering journey. So if I just give you in a nutshell, the tug-of-war of change, which is the pull of the new and the old you, the ultimate battle, which is bridging the gap between pain and pleasure. I look at definitely thrive or survive, and, you know, finding relationships and marriages that really work, building them. And the empty nest
By the way, I
syndrome.
just want to say that even if you're married, you have to work so hard.
Oh no, that's the whole
A lot of people
point of the lecture.
I'm married, that's it. No, 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 no,
It's
no, no.
work.
Yeah.
It
You have to
is
work at
daily
your marriage.
discipline in marriage
Yeah.
and in life.
Yeah.
And no one could ever think that it comes easily. And then the empty nest syndrome, the law of attraction, my way, looking at ego
Let's
and
go back
soul.
to the emptiness.
Oh, wow. Well, that is just...
I can tell you a story about the emptiness.
Well, that's just one of these lectures where, you know, it just sort of started flowing out of me. You know, I've only got one left at home, and, you know, when I walk through the halls, you know, you feel...
But they do come back, honey, let me tell you.
It's all right, and I'm thankful to God, but you know what? I think that I felt that need. Again, whenever I feel the need to heal, I write and I express myself in that. And I was reading Goldie Hawn's memoir, and she had this whole chapter on it, and I couldn't put words to it until I read her chapter, and then it started flowing, because she was explaining how naked and vulnerable she felt, now having no one to nurture.
That's right.
and no
Nobody
one to
needs
hold.
you. Nobody needs you anymore.
But I want to tell you, and this segues right into coaching, my 18-year-old son, who's now at Sheridan College studying musical theater, whom I seldom have to help, called me on Sunday, weeping, and said, "Mom, I am stuck." He said, "I just lost this little boy who I've been watching over the internet for a year, and he just passed away from leukemia. And I didn't think he would go, Mom, because he was like a superhero to me."
It's so sad.
And so I said, "Son, I've never offered this to you before, but how would you like a half an hour of coaching?" And we did it. And we went into that space of what was aching the most and how we could process that. And you know what we did? We took he had cried for a full day before that. We had spoken. You never do coaching when something is too fresh and the wounds are too open.
Right.
You have to let that heal through the tears and through the sadness. And then I said, now we're going to work through this grieving so that you can move into a place today of acceptance and some neutrality around that, so that eventually you can take it to a curious and creative and proactive place, which is just what he did. He got 30 or 40 of his musical theater friends together, and they sang Seasons of Love in a choir and sent it last night to the family, showing how this child's young life was measured in love. And I tell you, that's how we go through the phases, but sometimes we need guidance. We need a little hand-holding.
We don't know what to do.
And that's what coaching does. It's helping you just to move forward. Sometimes in baby steps, sometimes in huge steps, but it's something called evoking transformation. You are empowering someone, but it's evoking. They have to find it within themselves to transform. All you're doing is giving some of the skills and the tools.
You also tell them it's okay to move on, to move forward.
Definitely. And how to process that. So there's 3 kinds of coaching that I studied: fulfillment coaching, balance, and process. They're all exquisite, but 2 out of the 3 are what I practice more than not. Because the first one is fulfillment coaching is like, okay, how do I live on purpose? What lights me up? What are my values? What is my current perspective on life? What is my life purpose statement? We develop these things. Together we mine for values. We develop life purpose statements. We develop commitments to saying yes to something and then saying no to something else. And we move from just talking about it to actually doing it. And that's the difference. Your clients are accountable. You give them a request or a challenge, and they're allowed to say yes, no, or modify. And then within that week, they need to get back to you and tell you what they're doing or what they're not doing. And that's fine. And because they're accountable. But that's the journey. That is the journey of, you know, being able to see how much you want to do in order to you know, to succeed.
It's amazing. I'll just go back. I remember, I mean, I needed you before. When I found myself, my son, one of my kids was in university, and then I still had one at home. And then the last one went to university, and all of a sudden there was 1 year, there was no one at home. And I remember the first 2 weeks in September, I went nuts. I mean, I couldn't find myself. I went around the house, and it's empty. You know, I remember crying for 2 weeks. I don't know what was wrong with me.
It's not wrong with you.
No,
it's part of the grieving process,
Today, I mean, you know, today one already came back, you know.
Yeah.
And now I find, because I found myself, and I found different things to do.
There you are.
Oh, no,
there you
I'm
are.
fine. It took me 2 weeks. But now I find that my kids, you know, sometimes
reach out to you.
Yes, it's like, you know, it's like, wow, you're so busy. You're so, like, you know, you're so busy. You do never,
it's
you know,
amazing.
it's sort of, in a way, maybe it doesn't bother them, but it's all of a sudden, you know, I think they stop taking you for granted. That's what it is.
Because they had to go through the young stages of entitlement, and they felt entitled to everything and everyone at their beck and call.
Of course.
And now, look at Mom. Mom is pursuing her full potential, and that's what coaching does. Say, what is your, are we living fully? Are we alive?
So I got to tell you something, how much I believe, I'm going to tell you I believe in coaching, and I think what you're doing is wonderful. A few years ago, there was a friend, a coach, an Israeli guy that came from Israel, and he did a weekend of coaching, okay, for some friends and, you know, close friends. And I said, fine, I'll go to the coaching. Well, okay, I will do it. And I took my son, actually, with me. And I can tell you that it was amazing. That one of the questions, they made us, you know, fill, you know, booklets, and then one of the things that they asked me was what was it that I wanted to do that I just never did.
See.
And, you know, I never even thought about it till I had to write it down. And I wrote down what I wanted to do, and actually what I wanted to do was paint. It was very, you know, and I got to tell you that I have been painting since then.
That's beautiful.
I've been in galleries. I've been, you know, selling my art.
Wow, I'm looking forward to seeing that.
And it was amazing.
Now you have to share that with me.
But I got to tell you, it was from that weekend that it happened.
Can I tell you why? Because the essence of coaching is powerful questions.
Yeah.
And we go through life not asking ourselves the powerful questions. Maybe when we're sitting in a funeral or listening to a sermon on a high holiday, we may take some of that home, have a meaningful conversation here or there. Yeah. Coaching gets you to have meaningful conversations with yourself and with the world every day. You ask yourself questions that you would never ask, not even just, you know, what lights me up and what's my purpose, but what am I tolerating? Where are my boundaries being crossed? You know, where am I not honoring my values? Because here's the thing we have to differentiate between. We're all living, but like, are we alive? We're all in survival mode. We're surviving, but are we thriving? Are we, you know, just going through the motions, or are we flourishing? And this is why so desperately I want to change the academic system. Because education teaches the kids academics, but they don't teach them emotional and social intelligence or how to coach themselves through life. So people are going out, you know, brilliant and academics, doctors, lawyers of every kind, and they can't find overall satisfaction. So in coaching we have this wheel of life, and we have everyone break down life into, you know, career, family, friends, money, personal growth and development, environment, whatever, and assess. Rank yourself. Where do I sit? What is my overall level of satisfaction, number one? And what is my level of satisfaction in each of these important categories? Am I settling? Am I compromising?
Gee, I feel like I'm being coached now. This is great.
But it is. But those questions that honestly, you took that and you became an artist. It's about giving yourself permission to get creative. And really, the essence is about getting curious. Get curious with your life. What's missing
I think
in
with me, he just moved, like got me off my butt to do something.
Yeah, and how does it feel?
Oh, I'm like, I thank him every day.
Isn't it? And
Yeah.
I honestly, and you know what? It's an outlet. It's a sacred space.
Sure.
And no one's judging you.
Yeah.
And that's what coaching is.
I judge myself, but
Well,
nobody
that's what we do. And we have our inner critic and our saboteur.
Yeah.
And that's what coaching does, to come and calm the negative thoughts, the false beliefs, the stuff that brings you down. That's not real truth. It's thought, perception, assumption, and excuses.
So tell me, how long does a person, what do you, like, give me an idea of coaching. Like you start with the person, how long do they, you know?
Honestly, if you don't give it a 3-month trial, you won't get far enough into it.
Fair enough.
It's, you know, once a week is great. Some people can only carve it in once every couple of weeks, but honestly, once I'm being coached right now. I personally have a coach. I've had her for 8 months now. It was the greatest gift I gave to myself.
Good for you.
And every week, it's like I'm taking a course. It's like a part of my master's degree.
And you know, it's a choice.
It is a choice.
There's no such thing as I don't have time. It's everything is
or
prioritized.
I don't have the money, because we'll spend it in different ways, but it's all a choice point. So make the good ones, is what I say.
I agree with you 100%. Like, this is wonderful. So tell me, just, you know, we're running out of time again.
And these books are just do say they are still at Chapters Bayview Village. Both of these are at Chapters Bayview Village. And Indigo has Mind Unlock, and a lot of the different stores actually across Canada are still carrying them.
That's great. And I look forward to having your third book. When do you think you're going to finish it?
I'm 2/3 way through, but right now I really want to get the lecturing happening. So I'm sort of putting that on a back burner.
Okay, so we have everything on the screen, so people can get a hold of you. And when are you going to start the lecture?
Sure, my email would be great, and my website is there. It hasn't been updated in a while, and I'm looking for venues. I'm looking for places for women's groups, for couples, for men's groups, anything. Sisterhoods, brotherhoods, whatever I can find, people to listen.
You're doing great. Terri, it's always a pleasure. Please come back, and we'll talk more about coaching.
Thank you. I would love to.
Good. Thank you. And I'm going to say goodbye, and we'll see you next week.